You like to read? I love to read. Reading was a lot easier before I had a certain eye condition, but I still love to read. And the other day I was watching Jessica at Roots and Refuge, and she brought up that there are now books being written by AI, not real people. Hi, I'm Mary Bourne. I'm a traditional naturopath. I love sharing natural remedies with people. And I welcome you to my channel. Now, this is not the usual menu on my channel. I usually do gardening with Granny. I talk about health and nutrition with my Health to Home. But today, this is a topic that Jessica has asked other YouTubers to collaborate with her to get the information out and to recommend books written by real people that have created value in our life. Wow, this could be like a week-long video, but there are 3 books that I want to talk about that I feel every family should own. And of course, the first one is the Bible. During 2021, when there was a lot of doubt and mistrust and information that we were wrong, totally wrong information, I took a dive. I don't usually take a dive. I'm a very positive person, but I took a dive. And so I spent the year, 365 days, doing the Bible. And I did it with Father Mike through Ascension Press. And I'll leave a link in the description below in case that's something that you're interested in. But that's always been a goal, to read the Bible from cover to cover. But I was kind of like, I didn't know really the best interpretation, how to take different things. I can read stuff, but it's like, what does that mean to me? And Father Mike did an excellent job. So that's book number 1. Now, book number 2 is a lifestyle book. In other words, it isn't Christian based or anything like that, but it is how to support your body with good nutrition. So welcome to Nourishing Traditions with Sally Fallon. It is a fabulous, fabulous book. Now, when I was taking my training for naturopathy, I read Weston Price, who is a dentist, was a dentist, and he looked at the mouths of people in America and he thought, this cannot be right, that all these fillings and all the orthodonture that needed to be done is like, this can't be right. So he visited indigenous countries and found that they had marvelous teeth, strong, healthy, beautiful curve to the roof of their mouth, and it fit all the teeth that their body produced. So it's an amazing story. You can find it on the website that I'll link in the description below. But Sally's book taught me how to make bone broth, how to nourish my body, and why it was important. It's unbelievable. Let me just read this introduction thing. So, in no period of our history as a nation, have Americans been so concerned about the subject of diet and nutrition. Yet, if we accept the premise that what we eat determines our health, then we must add the observation that in no period of our history as a nation have Americans eaten so poorly. Like, there is no conscious thought to the way we eat as Americans. Now, when I've sort of joined the homesteading community, I found that to be very different. I found that people joined these communities because they valued the food they ate and saw how the food could create either health or illness. So I feel this book to be the Bible of nutrition, so that families could have some understanding of the importance of food. She talks about ferments, she talks about sourdough, and she talks about the value of proteins and how important all this is. So I highly, highly recommend Nourishing Traditions. Now, the other thing I've seen with watching homestead people and people interested in gardening and knowing the value of the food that they're eating, that they have no concept of health, that they don't know what to do when something happens. And things happen. I grew garlic, and unfortunately, where I grew it, there wasn't a whole lot of rainfall or moisture. And so the garlic grew dense and hard. So I'm trying to get into this bulb of garlic that I grew, and I stabbed myself in the palm of my hand. Now, you can't put a Band-Aid on the palm of your hand. I mean, it's like, and this thing was bleeding like profusely. And so I rinsed it out in the sink, put a wad of paper towel in my hand to staunch, and it soon soaked up. And sorry about the graphics. Then I remembered I have yarrow growing in my garden. Yarrow stops bleeding. Now, does the average person who grows yarrow understand how that works? Well, it's the end of the season. I went and plucked as many leaves as I could get, and they're beautiful. They're fern-like. I have a video on the yarrow and how I treated my wound. But what I did was I plucked those leaves, stuck them on the bleeding palm of my hand, grabbed another paper towel, wadded it up. Now I elevated it because, generally speaking, if something's bleeding, you don't want to have it down, hanging down. You want to elevate it. And then I sat up and I watched one of my favorite YouTube people. It was maybe 45 minutes later, and I brought my hand down and I looked, and the bleeding had stopped. The wound was closing up. And so I put some liquid silver just in case. It's antibacterial and antimicrobial, basically. And put that on there, and then put a piece of gauze on there, and then taped it. And there it is. We're talking 10 days. You don't see the wound. I have no problem with it. It was a really deep wound. Now, you don't want to use comfrey, because comfrey is a tissue healer, and it would heal over the wound, and the underside of it wouldn't be healed yet. So yarrow helps to heal from the inside out. Now, why do I know that? Well, of course, I took my training with a college, Trinity College, and I learned a lot of that from the books I read during my training. Now, I got my training in 5 years, and I made myself a goal to do a book a month in all. So you added up how many books I had to read to get through the courses of the training. But one of the people that I've learned so much from is also a friend of mine. I think that we've been friends for about 40 years. And so during our journey together, now he lives in Utah and I live here in Michigan, but we've met at different health conferences and that. He's past president of the American Herbalist Guild, and his name is Steven Horne. He's written several books, but this book, Strategies for Health, is an amazing compilation that helps people have a reference of what to do, when to do it, and it is something that would be advantageous for at least one person in the family to know what to do. I have learned so many techniques from Steven of what to do in case of emergencies, in case of burns, in case of bites, things that happen on a regular basis. Now, you're not going to be setting bones, you're not, but there are things you can do before you call 911, 911, or for an ambulance, or you head for the hospital. Just taking 5 minutes to do something can help you heal in at least half the time. Just understanding what your body needs to take care of the wound or the concern that you're going through. Charcoal, activated charcoal. If you eat something that you think suspicious that maybe you got food poisoning, take some activated charcoal. It's what they're going to give you in the hospital. Common sense of handling things as quick as you can to increase healing. So these are the 3 books. I will leave them linked in the description below. Steven also has a course, Strategies for Health, where if you feel like you'd like to go in depth and get a certification, in bad times, the herbalist is the most sought person, because what do you do when there's no doctors around, or when it's impossible to get to a hospital? You need to know these things, and you need to be able to read them over and over again so that they're ingrained in your head on what to do. If I have a bite, I'm going to search for the first broadleaf plant that I can find, plantain, rub it off, stick it in my mouth, chew it up a little bit, slap it on that bite. And then it's healing instead of, oh my goodness, here I am. I got all these bites. What do I do? I hope that you will pay attention to some of these. Maybe you already have nourishing traditions. If you do, put a comment in the below and say how it's helped you, what you've learned from it, what recipes that you use. I'm 80 years old and I'm still learning. I'll always be a learner teacher. And I hope that this has been of value to you. And I hope that Jessica finds many, 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 many people that will help support her collaboration. I'll leave a link in Jessica's video where she talks about these AI books. What is the world coming to? Oh, we have got to make more common sense of it. So thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking in. If this has been a value of, uh, give me a thumbs up, and I appreciate you. Until next time, this is Mary for the health of it.